Welcome to Maddie's World. Enter the world of networking, technology, and gaming.
We have seen, right, we have created one instance, so which was the basic instance, and we have gone through how we can access the instance as well, right? So again, I'm gonna do the same thing. So let me click on launch instance, right? I have already discussed about these Quickstart MEs, right? My MEs, AWS Marketplace, and communities. So I'm going to go with the quick start at this moment, and I'm going to take this image here, right? So we have already discussed here we have some instance type. If you want to choose them also, you can do that as per your requirement. Like if you want to go with the general purpose compute, or if you want to go with the GPU instances, some large instances which has, you can say, more CPUs and RAM, memory, so you can take those instances from here as per your requirement. If you are going with some machine learning things and you need as ASIC instances, you can go here and find the instances as per your requirements here. If you need memory optimized instances, so you can go ahead and find here the memory optimized instances also, right, where you will get the memory like 3904 gig, which is pretty high in size, right, and 120 GB of CPU. So you can get anything you want from here, right, as per your requirements. If you need the storage optimized, then you can go with the storage optimized also, right? So you're gonna go these things here. Here you can change current generation, or you can take from all the generation. So if it has more generations instances available, you will get from here, right? So that you should be familiar with these things, because these are pretty essential things to know, right? The second thing is about costing, right? You should be familiar with the costing. We'll talk about the costing part also, right? So again, I'm going to choose the general purpose instance here, which is available in the free tier account, right? So last time we talked about number of instances we are launched. So you see we launched one instance, so you can give here the number of instances are available and you want to create, and you can see what the limit of the instances you would like to create, right? So you can see here and choose how many instances you are looking for. And the one another essential thing here, you can see it's spot instance, right? So what is this spot instance basically, right? The spot instance are basically the instance which you can ask for bid, ठीक है, कि आपको बिड में इंस्टेंस मिल रहा है. बेसिकली व्हाट हैपेंस इज AWS के पास कुछ ऐसा इन्वायरमेंट या ऐसा हार्डवेयर पड़ा हुआ है दैट इज आइदर लीस्ट यूज और दे आर नॉट यूजिंग इट, राइट? सो दे हैव कीप दैट those hardware for spot instances, and those spot instances will be in very less charge, or you can say you will get 70% and 80% discount on those instances, right? So that's what we call them a spot instance, right? If you see, right, the current price of instance, the instance type we are taking at this moment. So if we go back to the instance type here, right, and if you talk about this instance type tier 2, right, the costing of this instance per hour was this, right, in this zone. So this is hourly cost here, right? So what you can do is you can bid here, right, how much exactly you can pay for this instance. So you can think of putting some hop amount for this, right? I'll take you through by the another option to this. So let's go to spot instance first and understand the spot instance first. So I will cancel this, right? I will directly go to the spot request here. So if you click on the spot request, you know, this spot request is pretty much awesome thing if you want to save the cost, but that will again depends on the requirements, right? So if you click on the request spot instance, you will see here couple of things, right? You can see here, tell us your application or task need, right? What kind of workload you have. So if you have web servers and you want the load balancing stuff, so you can go with load balancing workload. They say launch instance of the small size in any availability zone, good for running web server. If you are running web server, then go with this configuration, right? The next you see the flexible workload. That means the launch instances of any size in any availability zone for good running batch and CI/CD jobs. If you are looking for CI/CD jobs or some good running batch jobs, then you can go with this flexible workload, right? If you are going for a big data workload, then select here. So launch instance of any size in single availability zone, good for MapReduce jobs. If you are running MapReduce jobs, Hadoop jobs, then go with this tab here. And if define duration of workloads, let's say you want to launch this pod instance for 1 to 6 hour, so you can specify here for how many hours your instance should run. So as you know, now the pod instances, let's say we know that we get the instance for an hour, right? So what will happen, आपने bid करी and you got one instance, right? And every hour that instance will be terminated. So you have to also think, if you want to specify some specific time for that, you can specify the time also here, for how many hours you need that, right? So let's go ahead and select this load balancing workload first, right? And let's scroll it down. So the first one you see here is configure an instance. Now we are going to configure our instance. We are going to do bidding here. So the first you see the launch templates. I'm going to ignore this here because you are not familiar with the launch template at this moment. So once I will do it, I will let you know, right? The launch templates are basically, when you are doing some auto scaling stuff, right? So if you are going to take your custom images, then we can use the launch template. I'll take you through these things also. The next is AMI, right? What AMI you are going to select here. So you can select any of the AMI you are looking for. So most of the AMI is basically Amazon machine image, right? You can select any image from here. If you want to search for a custom AMI, you can search for here also, right? So let's say I'm gonna go with this Red Hat INC first, provided by Red Hat INC, right? The next is compute maximum compute unit, right? What compute unit you need, right? Add specification, you can provide the specification here, what specification you need. Or if you don't do this, as an instance type, you can also choose which instance type you need, right? If you go here, right, you will see the size and spot price of the instance also. And if you see A1, it has 1 GB 1 CPU, 2 GB of memory, and you are getting 20% spot saving on this. And this is the spot price. And if you compare this price with A1 medium, that will be 70-80% above, right? In the same way, if you scroll it down, you will see as larger the instance you will take, you will get more discounts on those. So here you can see, right? If you are taking these instances, 48 virtual CPU, 380 GB RAM, then you are getting 68% discount. So per hour cost of that instance would be 1.4692, right? So this way you can choose exactly which instance you need. Let's say I am going to take this one which has the 70% discount, or that depends on the requirements, right? It has the 62 64 virtual GBs and 256 you can say RAM, right? So this way you can select anyone. If you don't select even, you can get the recommendation from the AWS itself. We will see that down. Let's say I'm going to select here any T3. Let's say I will take this one here, T3 installers, and let's take this one. So let's take this one. right? It's giving us 96 virtual CPU, 768 GB of memory, and do you see this? We are getting the 78% discount on this. Go ahead and select this, right? Next, which network you are specifying. At this moment you do not know about the networks, so we are going to select the default network here, right? The next is availability zone. If you want to select some specific availability zone, you can select here. Let's go ahead with the no preferences at this moment. The next is key pair. Which key pair you are looking for? If you have any key pairs available, that would have been attached here. Otherwise you can go ahead and create the key pairs here, right? Create a key pair name, let's say we call it AWS DevOps. So for use with putty, okay, let's create it. So it has downloaded the ppk for us also, right? So let's go back to the console again, right, and select our key. So you can see the key has been added to it now. If you would like to do some additional configuration, so click here. If you want to add some more volumes here, you can do it. So I am not going to do that at this moment. The next is how much capacity you need. Let's say you need 2 instances, or you can also select here the vCPUs. How many vCPUs you are looking for, right? That's totally up to you. If optional on demand portion, you can select this only when you are using this launch template section here. So we are not using it, that's what this is not populating us here, right? Let's say I'm gonna take let's call it I need only one capacity here. I'm gonna select the instance here, right? So maintain target capacity. How you are going to maintain the target policy? That means if it gets terminated, one should create it automatically. If instance stop, also it should be created. It hibernated, it should be created, right? What will happen? Let's say कि आपने कोई भी एक bid लगाई, right, and you won the instances, right? You are getting the instances, and somebody comes and puts some bid, right, and your instance will be terminated and his instance will be created. So in such a situation you can put those policies here. Maintain target capacity, at least जैसे ही एक terminate हो, your another instance should be created. Now if you come down, maintain target cost for a spot advance optional, right? Here set your maximum cost per hour. You can set here how much maximum cost you can provide, you can bid here, right? If you are not doing this, you can apply the recommendation here. If you scroll it down, it will show you all these instances, right? And it is asking you to select from these instances which are very cheaper, right? If you do not specify any maintenance advance cost here, so this will automatically pick the instance which gives you the more saving here, which is 75%, 63%, 69%, right? And you can see the hourly cost is pretty low for $1.84, somehow $1, and for these big instances, if you see here, right? And even if you want to do some bid, you can put the bid here. So come down, it says your fleet contains sufficient instance pool to fulfill your target capacity, and this fleet will launch 9 instance type. This fleet has 9 instance type and 6 availability zone and 54 instance pool. So this is how this can beneficiate you right here. And feed allocation strategy is by default capacity optimized here, right? So you can scroll it down, and if you want to add some additional request detail, let's say here you can select here roles. You are not familiar with it, we'll talk about the IAM roles later on. And it says your request will valid for 1 year. Terminate the instance when requests expire, and when the request will be expired, it will terminate your instances, right? Now at the end you see your feed request at a glance. It says the capacity is 1 instance. Maintains your capacity, that means when instance goes down, terminated, stop, it will launch 1 instance. Instance configuration is custom, which has 64 vCPUs to 40 GB of memory, right, and it can be launched in 6 availability zone. And in pool we can launch 54 instances. Estimate price per hour is 1.27 hour at target capacity pools here, compared to on demand, right? Anyway, if you want to change it, if you don't want to use the apply recommendation, right, go ahead and select the instance from here. Let's say you want to use this one only, which is like 2 GB of RAM, 4 GB, sorry, 2 GB, 2 virtual CPU and 4 GB of RAM, which is which has very less cost, and this fulfills my recommendation. Then why should I go with this large one? I will select this one, right? Now my fleet will change here. Now this is asking me to select which allocation strategy you are looking for: capacity optimized, diversified across 11 instances pool in my feed, or lowest price. What you are looking for? If you do the capacity optimized, then it can burst out your, जो भी आपकी capacity है, means that can burst it. It says fulfill your request using spot instances pool that are optionally chosen based on the availability spot capacity. जो भी आपकी capacity होगी उसके according it will launch your instances, right? So you have to select one policies from here. Let's say I'm gonna go with the capacity optimized one here. Now if I see my spot here, it says 1 instance, and estimated price would be this. I think this has not been changed yet. Wait a minute. This is what I use, right? I selected this. It should have been changed, but it's not. Any questions so far, guys? Guys, any question? Are you getting what we are doing? No question?
No.
Okay, let's go and see in the instance if that anything has been, it started proposing an instance for us. Still nothing has been launched. the feed is active, but its still capacity is like it has not reserve any instance for us. It basically recommends us to take the larger instance because those are easily available. Let's wait for a while. If it doesn't like create anything, then I will launch some larger instance here. That's your feat is valid. जो भी आपने feat create करा, that feat you have created, that's valid for 1 year. You can delete it right now as well. But the instance will be launched. Those will be based on availability of the hardware. So I think still
कॉन्सेप्ट वो ये पुराने वाला कि भैया अगर तुम्हारे उसमें तुम्हारी बिट एक्सेप्ट हो गई तो तुम्हारे को मिल जाएगा, अदरवाइज नहीं मिलेगा.
एग्जैक्टली और अवेलेबिलिटी पे इन केस अगर किसी ने और ने बिड किया एंड हिज बिड गेट्स हायर देन यू, योर इंस्टेंस विल बी डिलीटेड एंड हिज विल बी क्रिएटेड. So let me do one thing. Let me edit this again. Let me go ahead here. No result yet, so let me go to modify target capacity. I think this is not editable. Let me do one thing. Meanwhile, let me create one on another feed for the larger instance, which is the recommended one. That's, let me go with the default configuration. I will say maintain on termination, and okay, I will choose any one of the requested at this moment, right? So which is also giving me very less cost here. See, this feed has run. I'll delete this one now. So if you see now, right, if I gone with the default one, because it says if you're taking the larger instances, then those will be auto, that gets precedence here, and you can see here the instances has been launched easily and which are persistent also, right? So let's go ahead and see the instance now, if the instance has been provisioned here, right? You can see T3 medium instance has been launched, and if you go up and see the capacity here, right, description here, you can go to the section and see what capacity has been provisioned, right? So even if I delete this, right, and terminate this, as per my policy, right, on termination after a couple of seconds my instance will be launched. So let's go to spot request again. the instance has been started again, right? After the instance was terminated, the new instance has been automatically created, because when we created our spot instance, we said, you know, you should maintain this in termination. But you see now that there are two instances, you know the reason behind that, right? So this is how, you know, the fulfillment work for us. So if you don't want them, you go ahead and click on action, cancel the spot request. But anyhow, you know, you can save most probably 70% and 80% of the cost which you pay in your normal instances, in your dedicated instances. Any question, any doubt on this?